You guys have asked for it, so I'm gonna give it to you. This is the next installment of my rarest records. Now, in this video, I'm gonna show off 5 records that are super rare, hard to find, out of print, worth a lot of money. I'm gonna show them off, tell you about them, and tell you what they're worth on Discogs, and maybe what you can pick them up for, at least at the time of this video. You're not gonna wanna miss this.
If you want to steal, then Matt lives at...
First up is a recent acquisition, Dashboard Confessional, The Swiss Army Romance. Now, this is Dashboard's first official album. It is beautiful, emo, acoustic music that pulls the feels out of even the coldest, meanest person. This album means so much to so many people. It was seminal for a lot of people growing up around the early 2000s. And it still is great today. I listened to it the other day when I acquired it, and I felt just like I did when I had first heard it. I got this from my buddy Drake. Jesus Christ. Kiki, do you love me? Here you go. Here's that dashboard. I got this from my buddy Jake Lloyd, who runs Dragon Wagon Radio, which is the podcast network that the Too Many Records podcast is on. He's had this for a long time, I think since it came out, and he doesn't listen to records as much as I do, so I've been kind of eyeing it for a while, and eventually I concocted a trade that he was happy with, and I was happy with. I traded him 3 records, Sea Change, For Emma Forever Ago, and The Swell Season. He traded me this. I think I got the better end of the deal, but he's happy. He actually thinks he's ripping me off. He's not. I'll tell you why. This is the only pressing of this album since 2003. It also had one other pressing, but it's this ridiculous Swiss Army knife shaped box set of 7 inches, and it all folds out. It's crazy. It's cumbersome. I would never want to listen to the album in that format, but if you want to just spin it, this is the only way to do it. It tends to go for about $100 to $175 when it's on Discogs. It doesn't pop up that frequently. Right now, there's a copy, as of this video, that's $150. So if you want it, go for it, but it's a little much. There's a chance it'll get a repress. All the other Dashboard stuff has been getting pressings lately, so it might happen, but having a first press of this album makes me real happy. Next up, we have a record that is highly coveted, and I don't know if it's going to stay coveted because there are some reissues of some of this music happening very soon. It was just announced not too long ago. But for a long time, if you were a Studio Ghibli fan, the only way to have some of their music on vinyl was to get the Mondo pressing. So there's 3 different compilations that came out. They're all the same music, but different covers and different colorways. This is, as you can see, the Spirited Away cover, which is my favorite Miyazaki movie. This colorway comes on a beautiful yellow and a green. All of them have the same music on them. Princess Mononoke, My Neighbors the Yamadas, Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, and The Cat Returns. So it's a nice spread if you're a big Ghibli fan of a lot of their stuff. No Totoro, but there is a Totoro pressing coming out very soon, so if you're a big fan, you should look into that. The only copy on Discogs right now is about $185, but it usually goes for more. Usually about $200 to $250. But what I do know is that I'm really stoked to own this. Guster, Lost and Gone Forever. Guster is an awesome band from Boston. They do kind of art rock, alt rock, folk rock. It's just, they pretty much take every version of rock except for hard rock, and they make the most beautiful, interesting, catchy music, and they've been doing it for years and years. They're incredibly underrated for how good they are consistently, and this is one of their top 3 albums without a doubt. Now, the interesting thing about Lost and Gone Forever is that it didn't have a vinyl pressing for a very long time, and one day they announced that they were going to be pressing it. But there was also a surprise drop on their website where they put 200 copies of this slime green record up. And I happened to see it right when it went up, and I'm really glad I did because it sold out instantly and now goes for absolutely ludicrous prices. Right now, there is not a single copy of this available. All 200 fans seem to like it and they want to keep it for good reason. I mean, this album is so good. But when it has popped up historically, you're looking at $190 to $250 depending on who's selling it. I got it for $25. Not a bad deal. It wouldn't be a Rare Records video if I didn't talk about everyone's really angry grandpa, Mark Kozelek. So this is Kil Moon's April. Now, this is before he completely went off the deep end and started making some of the worst music I've ever heard. This is actually one of his beautiful, incredible early albums. His second release right after the great Ghosts of the Great Highway. This is considered to be the best album by a lot of fans. Beautiful gatefold, and this is the most limited version of the album. It comes on an absolutely stunning gray marble, which is the promo version. Pretty much every Kil Moon record has a promo version that is the most limited. I happen to collect quite a few of them, thankfully. Still tracking down Tiny Cities, and of course Ghosts is going to be impossible to find. But I managed to find this really good price at Amoeba about a year ago. Does have a little crease on the back, but I'll survive. And this album is just stunning. His guitar work and the poetry of his lyrics are just exceptional. If you can find it, you should grab it. But devil's advocate, they just reissued Ghosts, which I didn't expect, no one expected, especially after I purchased it for $250. But regardless, they might reissue this too, so you might want to hold off, but if you just are jonesing for an original press, you should fork out the money. And you want to know how much you have to fork out? Well, that's what I'm going to tell you. So the marble one, there's only 300 copies that exist. There's a copy for 200 as far as I can tell right now on Discogs. Usually goes for about 190 to 250. So you're going to be paying a pretty penny for this guy, but this album is absolute beauty. And last, but certainly not least, an album that I've wanted on vinyl since I started collecting vinyl because it's such an important album to me. And finally they released it in a regular fashion and a glorious fashion. Damien Rice, Oh. This is one of the most beautiful albums ever written. I will say that without question. They did 1,000 copies in this beautiful cloth-bound book. It is just such a love letter to how great this album is. It has a beautiful fold-out with great pictures and art and whatnot. And then, of course, they have the 180-gram discs on the other side, and it's hand-numbered on the bottom, which is really nice. I may have talked about this in a previous video when I first got it, but it deserves mentioning again. This is such an incredible piece. And the records themselves, this could have been just like a hack job where it looked nice and sounded okay. They are two of the best sounding discs in my whole collection. It really brings justice to every note on this album, and it's one of the records that I would play someone to be like, this is what vinyl's capable of. Up there with the In Rainbows disc box by Radiohead. This is just an absolute masterpiece. And it retailed for about $100 shipped, especially because it was coming from overseas and it's a nice big piece, so it had to, you know, be secured properly. But you want to know what it goes for now? The only copy available is going for $230, but that is the low end. It sometimes goes for as much as $350, and I bet you this price is going to keep climbing. I'm glad I got it retail. It was a big expense when I first got it, but it definitely has paid off in the way it sounds, and the place it sits at in my collection in terms of my rarest records. So those are 5 more amazing rare records for my collection. I definitely have more to do, so if you like this segment, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. I will do more of them in the future. I want to know what your rarest records are, so please also leave a comment with what you have that you're proud of. Of course, we're gonna have more videos soon. If you like this, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to Too Many Records, and we'll see you soon.